Hey guys, Kingpin Light here, and I got something I want to show you guys today. It's a website as well as a tool that utilizes AI to image enhance or to be able to upscale images fairly accurately from what I've been able to see. And it's just something I want to share with you guys. So, as you can see here, the website itself is called bigjpg.com and it's AI image enlarger. And so what it does is you can select an image. So I've already sort of picked two images and I'm going to showcase the differences once they're actually upscaled on a different program, and I'll show you that in a second. These are starting at about 250 pixels, right? They're super small. I just found them online. I looked for like icons of a background and an icon of a TV just to show you guys from a really extreme example, starting with something that's as small as 250 pixels and getting them up to about 4K. So I did want to mention this website's great, right? Because it's free. I just found it. I was looking for an AI assisted image enhancer, and I saw a lot of websites, a lot of tools, but they all cost money or had some sort of service plan. And I really wasn't looking to do a mass amount of images at the time. I actually was just doing enhancing this t-shirt design a little bit, because while this is great for my YouTube channel, my thumbnails and my icon, it was just a hair too not enough pixels for me to be able to do a shirt design accurately. So I actually just enhanced that image and it worked perfectly. So I was just looking to do like one or two images. I didn't really feel like paying anything, and I stumbled across this website and I thought there was going to be a catch, and it doesn't seem to be. You can put up to 3K by 3K images. From what I can tell, there's no limit to how many you can do, and they do offer, I think they offer like some sort of upgrade plan if you want to enhance by, I think it's 16 or 32 times instead of just 4 and 8 times. But the funny thing is you can just do an times 8 and then do it again if you really needed it. So that nobody's forcing you to use the upgrade plan. I personally didn't, but I might figure out a way to support them. I mean, I think it's a really cool tool. But anyway, let's jump right into it. So I've already sort of selected two, and I've actually already upscaled these to show in the other program. But we're going to go ahead and just see what the process is. So you select the images here. You, of course, find them in your file explorer. And now you have these images in here, and it tells you the important details. It's 250, about 250 pixels. And it's starting at a 2.5 kilobytes, right? So you click start and you get some options, artwork or photo. I don't necessarily know the differences between those two options, but I try and match to whatever I'm doing. So like, for example, my t-shirt design, I clicked artwork, and for this background image, I used photo. So I'm not entirely sure what the differences are, but anyway, for this one, I'll do artwork, and you can scale by 2, by 4, by 8, or 16, which of course those are the upgrade plans, which is just a few dollars, I think. So I did 4 twice, which would be times 16 by the end of it. So you can click times 2 times 4. Times 4 the first time makes it about 1,000 by 1,000 pixels, and then running it through one more time got it to about 4K. So I did upscaling times 4, and then there's noise reduction. Now I personally haven't tried these with the same image, like the different variables. I keep it at medium. I do want a little noise reduction, probably not too much. I don't know all the technical details. They don't really explain that. And maybe I'll do another video if you guys would like, of me comparing the same image with multiple different options and seeing how it comes out. Maybe there's a better way to do certain images. But you click these, you click OK. And it says about 3 to 5 minutes. It honestly takes about 20 seconds. I think if a lot of people are using the website, of course, it takes a little bit longer. And I did run into that at one point where it took me about 5 minutes. But normally it takes about 20 seconds. So it does that. It ends up showing you a little icon here, a little button that just says download. And then it's just downloading the image, and that's it. So it looks like they have app downloads as well, which is cool. I personally have not tried these out myself, and I may do that maybe in a follow-up video, but we're going to go ahead and jump right into the program because, like I said, I've done the files already ahead of time. So let's go ahead and jump into that. All right. So we're in just this paint.net. The program itself doesn't matter. It's just an image, a free image editing program, and it works for what we're doing it, using it for. So As you can see, that's just a canvas. Now I did make the canvas 8K by 8K so we could have enough space to move all of the images side by side, and you could see what it started with and what they ended up with while still, being in there. But just keep that in mind. This is an 8 by 8, 8K by 8K canvas, so we're not looking at a standard image size. This is a very highly pixel dense canvas we're looking at. So let's go ahead and just show the first image, and there it is, just barely up there in the corner. So that's what we started with. That's the first TV image. It's 250 pixels by 250 pixels about, and we'll zoom in all the way. So as you can see, we started with a very, very small pixel count image. You can see all of those artifacts here just from how small it is, the shadow. I got these off Google, and I very specifically chose ones that were very low pixel counts so that we could showcase an extreme example. So as you can see, even the legs are just, super pixelated, right? We got what I assume would be the logo here. You can't read anything off of that. And even within the black of the TV, you can see blocks of pixels. So the gradient there, the shadows there, there's not enough pixels to show detail, and it's just showing blocks. And even the edges, they're straight, but they're not very clean, right? So we're gonna go ahead and move that to the right corner, because I think they're all at the top left, and we want to be able to actually see them side by side. So we're gonna actually move that all the way to the top right there. Now next up, let's look at the other image that we have, which is this background. So again, look at this 8K canvas. We got the small little icon there that we're working off, and it's about 250 by 250 again. So as you can see, super pixelated. These mountains are super jagged. Clouds are kind of there. Trees, this honestly just looks like a really good pixel art image, right? Like that you would see in a pixel game. But you can tell what's going on, right? And that's what's important. So yeah, we start off with this really small image. We're going to go ahead and move this one as well. So we'll put that up there. All right. So now I'm going to show you what the images look like after 4 times upscaling, making them about 1K each. 1K by 1K. A little bit different than that, but about there. So we'll start with the TV and zoom in. As you can already see right next to that one, much bigger, right? 4 times as big. So let's zoom in a little bit. And there are definitely some mistakes, but you have to keep in mind that it's working off a super pixelated image, and it's working off of more of an extreme example. Not really a normal use case like something like what I did for my t-shirt, where the design was already very well detailed. It just needed a little more. So as you can see, it cleaned up the edges pretty nicely. You can tell the black borders there, and it's straight as it needs to be. Now, those blocky boxes of color that were inside of the TV did get sort of turned into a gradient of lines. Not perfect. We can see the lines, and we can see where the colors differ. But it's much, much cleaner, and being able to work off of what it had, I think it's super great output. Now, the legs, if you remember, they were super jagged. In this case, it's a fairly sharp leg outline for, again, what it started with. And this sort of logo area where it had no detail at all. Obviously, it's not perfect. It doesn't look great. But I think it looks a lot better than what it started with. And again, with the details that it had, I think it came out pretty well. You can almost think of that as maybe if we cleaned it up a little bit by hand and make it a little straighter, it would just look like sort of a shiny, nondescript logo right there. So, already this looks great with just one upscaling. Again, much better than what we started with. And then here is the background upscaled. Again, it's about 4 times as big. And I think it did a phenomenal job for, again, what it started with. So, the mountains there are super clean, roughly following what the original had. The clouds are pretty clean as well. They look like clouds. Orangey, of course, but I think that's just the coloring of the original image. Trees look amazing. Honestly, there are some mistakes where you can kind of see it bleeding almost here. But for the most part, this looks just like a real picture of trees, just a little blurry. You know what I mean? Not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. Rocks, I mean, I think that looks great. I think that looks like an actual rock there, right? Grass looks pretty nice, not super amazing, and you can start seeing some of the failings like here. And I wouldn't really call it failings, it just doesn't have enough detail to work off of, where it starts looking a little painted. And of course, you might want to do some filtering over it if you really are starting with something small and you end up with this, where it's almost there, but maybe a little bit of human tweaking would make it better. So let's go ahead and move this guy as well. And so I took those second images and did it times 4 one more time, leading to them being about 4K each. And let's go ahead and see that result. We'll look at the TV first and actually move that up. And yeah, I mean, look at that. And that's just a pixel I got selected. There we go. So, I mean, look at that, right? That's pretty amazing. And you got to keep in mind, it's going to keep the same artifacting that the 1K in this case had, because from the 250 pixels up to the 1K, it had to do a lot of guesswork with such little details. But by the time you're upscaling something that's about 1K and up, right, it has enough details to be able to just make it bigger without really affecting the look of it, which is great, right? So the same mistakes are there, so it's not perfect, but this is perfect in comparison to the second image. It's just upscaled with really no differences or artifacting. If anything, these lines are a little bit cleaner. They're more defined, but again, it's because the AI image enhancer thought that that's part of the detail, part of the image that it had to work with, so it kept the lines there. I mean, look at that. That's pretty amazing. It keeps the outline super clean, super smooth. And I mean, sure, there's a little mistake here because they had to do guesswork off the jagged pixels, but pretty great, right? And then same thing here, same mistake we saw in the other one, but it kept the mistake the same way that it used to be. You know what I mean? So it did what it needed to do. So we're gonna go ahead and move this guy as well. And actually, let's delete that white outline because that's a little bit annoying. There we go. So we, of course, next to the original, I'm going to move it in a second, but next to the original, I mean, we started off with this guy, this small, and we were able to end up with this, which I think is pretty awesome. And last but not least, let's look at the last background, the 4K version of the background. And there it is. I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. Again, it kept all the same details. The mountain, it still looks like just a picture of blurry trees. The rock looks pretty good. I would say the grass looks even better here than it did with the second upscaled, or the first upscaled image. And then this is still looking a little painted, but it's looking painted in the same way that the first upscale created. So it's keeping the details that it needs to, just making them much, much larger, right? I mean, think about it. You know, it would be an even better comparison, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is we can click the original background, drag and drop it, and make it as big as the 4K version, and see just what it ends up looking like, right? So let's select this little area. Let's go ahead and I think it's move selected pixels, move selection. I'm trying to remember how to use this, but here we go. I think this is it. So we're going to go ahead and actually grab this. I'll hold shift so that it keeps its ratio. And just keep upscaling until we can see it. And we end up with this. So let's hide all the other ones and just take a look at what it looks like. And so let's put these, and it's actually a little bit bigger than the upscaled one. So let's bring it back down just a little bit. And it's about right. So, and honestly, I was surprised that it looks even this good. I think there is some with paint.net, when you drag and blow stuff up, it actually does try and upscale it on its own. So maybe this wasn't the best way to do it. I probably could have left it so it wasn't anti-aliased. But think of it as this is its most editing programs enhancement next to what this tool can do. So as you can see, it does have a different look. Maybe it would depend on what you prefer. Next to it, this does look a little more painted, as where this just looks pixelated and a little blurrier. So this is more stylized, and I think from zooming out, it looks better than when you're trying to zoom into the details. So it depends on the use case that you're doing it with. And again, if you're doing something with enough details already and you're not having to start with some crazy, um, super small image you find on Google, it's going to be able to keep that same detail while making it much, much bigger with almost no loss to quality or anything else. So I think that's pretty cool. Interesting to note, some of the colors seem a little more washed out here than they do here. So obviously it's doing maybe some color enhancement, small adjustments to color in the upscaler. Maybe I'll take a deeper look at some of the technical outputs and sort of details that it's messing with. But yeah, guys, hopefully this was at least a little bit interesting to you, and maybe hopefully this will actually be useful for you. If you're maybe searching this video because you were looking for something that can make your image a little bit bigger without losing quality. So let me know in the comments if you've used this or if you've used a different tool that does the same thing. Let me know what you may end up using this for in the comments. Let me know as well if you're interested in seeing more AI related items. So I really do want to start covering more AI news and AI tools and all of that, because I work in the IT field, so I've seen AI for a while, right? It's been used in things like switches for a long time, in different use case than I guess what the mainstream is using it now. But in the last couple of months, it's just blown up, right? Like there's so much interest in it, and there's a lot of consumer products out there and consumer tools that are being able to be utilized by people. Things, of course, like the AI art generation, which of course has its own back and forth between people whether it's going to kill art or not. I don't necessarily believe so, but I can get into that on another day. Things that I've seen recently, like the AI music, that Drake and the Weeknd song, I thought that was crazy. I need to look a little more into it, because I don't necessarily know what AI generated music means, as in, is it using some sort of AI tool to recreate the voice and then they by hand chose the notes and the pitches and made a song? Or what exactly does AI generated music mean? I may dive deep into that and see what we come up with. But there's just a lot of cool applications that I've seen recently of AI and different circumstances where it's really helpful. So that's about the video. I got not much else to say other than hopefully you guys are having a good day. Hopefully you found some enjoyment in this video, or some form of learning from this video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.